Senator, as concerning as TikTok is, we learned today that a state-sponsored hacking group called Volt Typhoon is targeting our critical infrastructure. I've read a little bit about this, and this to me seems like a much bigger issue than TikTok. Can you explain to viewers exactly what's happening and why this is a problem? Volt Typhoon.
You're right, James. You're absolutely right, James. This is also a very, very serious issue. There is no innocent reason why a state-backed hacking group would be targeting civilian infrastructure, things like the power network, water, gas and other utilities. There's no reason why they would not need to be trying to establish a presence on those networks except for one purpose, and that's sabotage, to be activated at a time of choosing of the government that sponsors them. Now, Volt Typhoon we read in media reports, a Chinese government-sponsored attacker, and they have been, again, in those media reports, allegedly seeking a presence on Australian networks, trying to penetrate those networks. It's previously been publicly assessed that they've been on US networks, both in Guam and in the United States mainland, and this is very malicious behaviour. It's not the behaviour of a friend. It needs to be called out, and industry really needs to step up and root this stuff out of their systems. Otherwise, it will be used against us in a time of crisis, a strategic crisis, a security crisis, even an environmental crisis. These presences on our networks could be activated to shut down those networks and cause us to descend into chaos and disorder.
So I've got to ask you this then, why is that not considered an act of war? You've got a foreign nation hacking into our critical infrastructure in order to create a circumstance where they could close it down in a moment. How's that not an act of war?
It's an excellent question, and military strategists don't agree what crosses a threshold in the cyber realm from normal peacetime activities into war. But I think if you did cross the threshold into causing very serious physical real-world harm by shutting down an electricity network or a water network and all the spillover effects that would have, then we would have to regard that very seriously. And we should take already seriously the fact that there's unprecedented levels of espionage and state-backed intellectual property theft being sponsored by the Chinese government, which has been publicly assessed by Mike Burgess, the Director General of ASIO. That's bad enough already. I think we need to recognise this is not a normal diplomatic relationship. This is not something that friends do to each other. And when it happens, we need to call it out and counteract it.
Absolutely. This is not a normal relationship. We talk about the relationship apparently thawing. This is not normal. It's correct. Now, Senator, you would have earlier seen we played a vision of children chanting Intifada and other anti-Israeli slogans at a so-called encampment of Palestine supporters at the University of Sydney. How do you feel about that vision?
Well, thankfully, things on Australian university campuses are not quite as bad as they are on American university campuses. But if you wonder how it got so bad at American university campuses, look at what happened at Sydney University today, where young children were indoctrinated in, frankly, in my view, incredibly hateful slogans against Israel and the Jewish people. I mean, for what purpose is there to have 5-year-olds chanting about Intifada, which is a terrorist campaign, or from the river to the sea, which is to wipe out the modern state of Israel between the River Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea? Although I suspect that the toddlers aren't quite up on their geography, and you ask them if it was the Red Sea or the Mediterranean Sea or the Euphrates River or the Jordan River, they wouldn't be able to tell you. But they are being told that you need to hate Israel, and by extension, many of them will feel that you need to hate the Jewish community, and that's very distressing. Let's remember that these are universities that have set up safe spaces, that are protecting students from microaggressions, that think there's nothing more important than protecting people from being harmed by words, not just actions, and yet they tolerate this. They tolerate this on their campuses. Imagine if any other group in our society, any other minority group in our society was targeted in the way the Jewish community is being targeted right now. Imagine if there was a protest against the Asian Australian community. Imagine if there were protests against the LGBTI community. How long do you think a university would permit this kind of thing to happen, and how quickly do you think they would shut it down if it was a different group?
Yeah, it's a nothing to see attitude, unfortunately, when it comes to Jewish Australians. It's absolutely appalling.
Yeah, Senator James Paterson, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate you.